I'm here with Tim Knissis, CEO of Dodge and SRT, and we have a huge question for him, and that's all about the brand new final last call. And before we get started, I wanted to figure out what this car is. It truly is the very last of the last. Am I correct?
This is the last call of the muscle cars of this era.
Of this era. Keep that in mind. Put a pin in that, guys. Remember that in the future. What is this car? How did it come into being?
Well, if you think about it, 2018, when we did the original Demon, it was going to be the pinnacle.
Right.
That was going to be the high water mark for the muscle cars. And after that, we were going to part it out because we had to recover some of the investment. We were going to do things like the Red Eye and the Super Stock and things like that. But the Demon was going to be the pinnacle. And then we were going to transition into a new car and the transition to electrification and all that stuff. But that was 6 years ago.
Right.
And during that period of time, we entered into one of the largest mergers in automotive history, and COVID hit. So the world kind of stopped for a long time.
Right.
So now we're finally getting back to normal. We're finally getting our product plan in place. We've already shown what the future is going to be with the new Daytona and how we're going to go battery electric and all that stuff. But it's hard to look at that and say, oh, we had the pinnacle 6 years ago. You know, it's like walking off the court on all net, but it was 6 years ago.
But it was 6 years ago.
Yeah, so you got to kind of bridge that gap, because if you look at Dodge and if you look at our muscle car performance, we've been the #1 selling muscle car the last 2 years in a row. That's not me. It's not anything I did. It's not our new sheet metal or our new car. It's on the backs of all the enthusiasts. It's on the backs of the 2 million people that bought these cars and that love this brand and what these cars represent. So we owe it to them to celebrate the end of this era. We owe it to them to make something that's so crazy that it's not exciting to you and I, and it's not exciting to them. It's exciting to their neighbor that doesn't know anything about cars, because then it validates what they do and what they love. It gives them pride in the brand that they love. So we're doing this to celebrate the end of the era and give them the pride in what they've accomplished for us.
It's extraordinary when you think about the numbers, because I cannot remember a time in my entire life that I've ever heard of a production car that an average Joe can buy that puts out over 1,000 horsepower, and this is 1,025 horsepower, 945 pound-feet of torque. Mind-blowing numbers, and this is a street-legal car. And for those of you who just don't know, this is still, yes, a street-legal car, and you can get a parachute with it. In fact, it's required by the NHRA if you're going to run this thing, because it's so fast.
Well, let's be clear. The parachute is not an option. It's available after purchase through direct connection.
Right.
It's not a factory option.
I apologize. Yes. But it's still something that you have to put on.
It's something that you have to put on the car per NHRA rules. But that brings us to the point of why did we want to do what we did? 6 years ago, it was the pinnacle. A lot has changed in the industry since then.
Certainly
so
has.
When we started thinking about what we were going to do with this car and how we were going to celebrate this car, there was a couple of driving forces. Number one, when we reorganized the company and we were going through our merger, first we reorganized, then we were going through our merger, and then COVID hit and everything. A lot of people were saying, hey, this is the end of SRT. This is the end of the crazy cars from Dodge.
Right.
And we said, no, it's absolutely not. This is who we are. This is what we do. And we're going to show you this is what we do. But now what's the new benchmark? The benchmark is we got to beat what we did 6 years ago. So we knew day one, we got to be sub 2 seconds, 0 to 60. We got to be 8 seconds in the quarter mile, and we got to be over 1,000 horsepower.
Just insane numbers. Now you're hoping to build 3,000 for the United States and 300 for Canada. And that's actually a lot more. If you think about the amount of power that a vehicle like this is putting out, 3,000 is enough for quite a few people to do exactly what we're hearing in the background. Go to the drag strip and absolutely beat up on the drag strip and yet drive it home. I mean, it's once again mind-blowing. This is a car that, by the way, I sat in the interior. We started it up, got to play with the accelerator before Dave got mad at us. And the point of that car was it felt like a Demon from the past, but we know that it totally outperforms it. Where were you guys, when you actually thought, hey, we can actually do something that goes 0 to 60 in 1.66 seconds? I mean, that is faster than an awful lot of extraordinarily expensive European cars that have all-wheel drive or electric vehicles and whatnot. This is a nut number.
Well, it's actually faster than any mass-produced car in the world. But when we started working on this, we're way beyond where we intended to go. Because when we started working on this, you know, our cars, Hellcats, Red Eyes, Demons, are highly modifiable. One of the things that we're going to announce today is that we underestimated how long it was going to take to emission certify our stage kits for the cars. And we now officially have CARB approval, so you can have full factory warranty and full CARB approval emissions compliance. You can modify your Red Eye up to 885 horse now. 885 horse from one of our stage kits. So we knew the potential was always there to make big power with these cars. We see the aftermarket, they're making 1,000 horsepower, so we said, hey, this isn't going to be that hard, we can do it.
Right.
What we underestimated was, not underestimated, but what was a little bit harder to do was to actually pass our durability. Anybody can make 1,000 horsepower and make 50 runs on the drag
Right,
strip.
and then they're done. They got to pull the head and everything else and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But making 1,000 horsepower and putting a full factory warranty on it, that's a whole nother thing.
Yes.
We ended up changing almost every part of this car. I mean, other than the sheet metal.
Right. Yeah. Now, speaking of the car itself, then a lot of you guys may have noticed during the ad campaigns leading up to where we are now, there are a lot of unusual numbers that are hanging off the car in different spots. So, for instance, the license plate. Can we discuss that real quick?
Yeah, so the license plate, we showed that at Speed Week in August, one fast 29.
Yes.
And 29, well, cat's out of the bag now. The car runs on ethanol, right? What's
Right.
ethanol made out of?
Oh, well, alcohol.
Which is from
corn.
corn.
Yeah.
What is the number one what state is the number one producer of corn?
Kansas? I'm horrible with corn.
Iowa. It is
Iowa,
the
okay.
29th state in the union.
Oh, okay.
One fast 29.
There
It's
we
so
go.
obvious. How did you
Yeah,
not get
no,
that?
come on. I don't track.
So we
corn
told you in
production.
August that it was an ethanol-based car, and
So
nobody
the
figured it
ethanol,
out.
nobody figured it out. Well, there you go, guys. All of you guys messed up because now I have not seen on the net one person who figured that part out.
Nope.
So there you go. And even if you say you figured it out, if it's not out there, we haven't heard it. You didn't do it. Now there is another number, 170. Now that has to do with the fact that it runs on 85.
Yep.
So what other? Is there anything else like buried?
We actually tipped everybody off to this at SEMA because we were supposed to launch this car at SEMA, and what we launched at SEMA was all of our complete crate engines. And when we launched the crate engines, we gave everybody the new nomenclature of the crate engines. And you have iron blocks and aluminum blocks, and we also rated them on whether they run on gas or whether they run on ethanol. And so we said the ones that run on gas, we called them E10 because they have 10% ethanol.
That's correct.
And the ones that run on E85, we called them C7. In the case of the aluminum block, it was A170, and the cast iron one was C170.
Okay.
And the reason is 85% alcohol in proof is 170 proof.
Yeah.
So we told everybody the names back then of what we were going to call this car.
But the official name though is Last Call 170.
Nope, Demon 170. So if you
Demon
look at the
170.
logo, here's a little bit of backstory.
Okay.
When we did the Demon, Hemi blocks are Hemi orange. When we did the Demon, we painted the block red. It was the first time ever we painted a block red.
Okay.
And that was part of the Demon story.
Right.
When we launched the Red Eye, the story behind the Red Eye was it has the soul of the Demon. It has the engine from the Demon in the Red Eye.
Right.
And that's why when you look at the badge, it has the regular Hellcat badge,
With the
but it
little
has
red eye.
the red eye in it because it has the soul of the Demon, the red block.
Gotcha.
Which is why when you look at this car, the block on this car is actually yellow.
Yes, it was.
So when you look at the badge on the side of this
That's why it
car,
has the
it has
yellow-
a Demon badge with a yellow jewel, and it has a neck tattoo, and the neck tattoo says 170.
How many times have you heard the CEO of any major automaker talk about neck tattoos referring to their cars? This is definitely a first.
So when we did the original Demon, we had an acknowledgement form that the customer had to sign. The dealer had to sign it, the customer had to sign it, and it had to be notarized before we would schedule the production of their car. And the acknowledgement form had a lot of things. Everybody knows about it from the past. You know, the car's fast, the car has drag radials, don't drive it in the rain, don't drive it in cold weather, etc. A lot of different things. This time around, one of the things that we're putting in the acknowledgement form is, and we had in the last acknowledgement form, how much did you pay for the car? In this acknowledgement form, it says, if you pay sticker for the car and it is sold order to you as a customer, we will priority schedule your car. You'll get your car built first.
Okay.
If you pay over sticker, you'll still get your car, absolutely. Or if it's for dealer stock and not for a customer sold order, we'll of course build the car for you, but we'll build it last. The reason we're doing that is if I run out of time, what I want to do is prioritize sold orders at MSRP for customers first so that I know that I get those cars built. And if I have enough time and still can build the cars, we'll get to the other ones at the end.
That's interesting. It's a really interesting way of trying to fight, dealer, expansion financially with what they've been hitting people with. Some of the car prices are just insane. I'm sure this is one of the reasons you're doing it. Speaking of car prices,
well, I'm not trying to fight them. I mean, we have a very strong relationship with our dealer. Our dealer partners are a real competitive advantage for us. As a matter of fact, we have Dodge Power Broker dealers that are certified to sell high performance cars like this.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to do though is guard against committing a car to a customer and not being able to build it. Because let's say that you were an owner of an original Demon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also going to build you the same car again. Let's say you own number 43,
okay,
and that's your cherished possession, number 43. I'll sell you number 43 again of this one, and you can have a match set.
Whoa.
But what if I run out of time and don't build it? You're going to be super pissed off.
That's absolutely
So I
true.
want to prioritize you first, build your car first, and then if I don't get around to building maybe a dealer stock order or something,
mm-hmm,
then that's okay.
Okay.
The dealer will be upset, but it's not as bad as the customer being upset.
I got you there. So the MSRP of the vehicle is $96,666.
Yep.
That's not an accident.
No, it's absolutely not. Nothing's an accident with us.
Yeah, no, that's great. So let's talk about when they can actually look at the vehicle online, because apparently it's happening right now.
Well, we're actually going to commit to build up to 3,000 in the U.S., up to 300 in Canada.
Right.
I don't know what the actual number is going to be. It's going to depend on chips and production capacity and whatever. If I build 1,400, I build 1,400.
Yeah,
I don't know. Build as many as we can. But what we're going to do is we're going to give ourselves a buffer of about 15%. Mm-hmm. So about 2,500 is what we're going to put out as visibility tonight. So tonight we'll go on Dodge Garage and we'll put all of the 2,500 by dealer. So you'll know which dealers in the country are getting an allocation for this car.
Gotcha. And so they can reach out to those dealers.
Correct.
And try to get their hands on them. Fantastic. All right. Well, there you go, guys. Go after them. Go get them. Let us know if you got one too, please. We really want to see one. Well, this has been an absolute mind-blowing experience, just seeing the vehicle, being at the drag strip, being able to see all these other guys absolutely freak out over this car. We're hoping to get our pals on one soon. Is there any word on when production starts on this vehicle?
I think we start about July.
About July? Okay. Fantastic. So you guys are going to have to line up and talk to your local dealer really soon. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.